Hello. Welcome back to the Obsessed with Pickleball podcast. This is not an ad for NoCo, but I really like this drink. So if you guys want to sponsor this podcast, I will accept just free beverages. I'm going to tag you. So welcome to another episode of the Obsessed with Pickleball podcast. I'm Jane. I'm obsessed with pickleball. And of course, what we're mostly talking about today is going to be the MLP midseason tournament. I have my Dallas Flash little hoodie on because I am a huge member of the Flash Mob. Absolutely dire. And I feel like recently I've been talking a lot about my fandom for the LA Mad Drops. Like, I feel like I can be a fan of both. I think that is allowed in 2025, especially because I live in LA, so I can be an LA Mad Drops fan, but I bleed blue for the Dallas Flash. We'll get into their amazing victory, like not to spoil it for anyone, but I don't even think there was a lot of question of if they would win. So we will get into it. But before we get started on that, we just have to circle back to DUPR, as we do. Guys, this DUPR algorithm is causing more controversy than Scannable. And if you know, that was a very niche comment, but it's sending chills through the spines of all pickleball players. DUPR has become like a weird cult, right? Like, it's kind of like how Netflix or DoorDash like sucked us in with something so great that we all became addicted to it. So they could suddenly start raising the prices, adding ads, adding service fees, adding all this crazy stuff. But we're so addicted to these streaming services and these ride shares that we have no use to spend their money. So that's what DUPR did, right? Like, it came out, we're like, oh, we're DUPR. We just want to make sure everyone is rated fairly. And we're like, great. And like, look, you can use this for your facilities, your tournaments. Like, people can kind of understand who you are. And we're all like, oh, that's so great. So everybody buys in and we're all obsessed with DUPR. And now it just grows slowly. And before you know it, like, your DUPR is your identity. And somehow we all know our own DUPRs are wrong, but judge everyone else on their DUPR. So it's like, I'll look, oh, their DUPR's only a 3.9. But like, my DUPRs went down to 3.66. My DUPR went down again, but I'm like, my DUPR's not accurate. Everyone else's is accurate but mine. I'm the only one who's an inaccurate DUPR. So if you tell me your DUPR, I'm going to think you're exactly how your DUPR is. Unless it's a really high DUPR, then I'm probably going to be like, there's no way her DUPR's that high. So that is where we are. So now DUPR can pretty much do to us whatever it wants. So now it brings out this new algorithm feature where you can lose even when you win. And I'm actually happy that they told me this before I did anything crazy, because like, my strategy for my DUPR journey was going to be to sandbag like a 3.5 with like a good partner who's too low rated. So I'd be playing a bunch of people like probably around the same DUPR as me, but my partner would have a really low DUPR. And essentially we would win a lot of the games, ideally, because again, I think I'm higher. Who knows if I am, but in my crazy mind. So we win a bunch of games, and even if we only went up like 0.03, we're still going up. And essentially, if he has a low DUPR and I can beat people around the same DUPR as me, then I would go up. But now, guys, no, don't do anything crazy. Even if you beat a team, your DUPR could go down. So if you play a team that's like significantly lower DUPR than you and you lose, and you win, even if you win, you need to win by enough. So essentially, a lot of my friends could play me, and if they lose to me, if they beat me like 11-8, their DUPRs will go down. Crazy. I think I just screwed myself because no one's going to play with me anymore. But essentially now, everyone should just play up. So if you're 4-5, honestly, just play 5-0. It's too risky to go in a 4-5 tournament and play against a 4-0 DUPR who might end up beating you because they're actually 4-5. And that was always a risk, but now it's even more. Do you see how in the weeds I'm getting about DUPR? It's so crazy how we're now waking up. As soon as we wake up in the morning, it used to be like, oh, I'm going to check my Instagram. I'm going to check my Facebook, see if I got any likes. And I was like, I'm going to check my DUPR app and see if my scores were entered. Like, if my rating changed. That's craziness. So, and then, yeah, like, I have a friend who played a tournament. Shout out to Blair. And this isn't exactly, I don't know if this was like what she was thinking, but she was like, yeah, I got silvers, but like, I wasn't that satisfied. It's like, now people are going to tournaments and winning medals, but not being satisfied because their DUPRs didn't go up. Okay, so that's where we are. So congratulations, DUPR. DUPR, you rule the world. Elon Musk has nothing on you. So now my new strategy for my DUPR journey is that I'm going to heal my back because I think I mentioned last time that I'm having some back issues. I'm going to find a good partner who's around my same DUPR, but is really good and we play really well together. And then I'm going to work on like my emotional and mental headspace so that I don't get too nervous. And then I'm going to let my reliability rating go down a little bit while I'm injured so that hopefully next time I play a tournament, I can get a little bit of an improvement. But if anyone out there has been experiencing the same kind of emotional turmoil that me and a lot of my friends are over their DUPR ratings, please let me know. And if you have any like mantras or like, positive things that you do to get through this hard time with DUPR, especially because we never know what's around the corner. What are they going to do next? We don't know. They're going to be like, okay, well, if your birthday's in September, you get an extra point. Like it could literally be that. They could literally be like, yeah, but you know what? We found that in order to make the algorithm work, all September birthdays need an extra point. Like that's where we are on the cusp, you guys. But let's get into pickleball. So first and foremost, thank God for the Dallas Flash. Okay. If anything feels like aligned in the universe or how it's supposed to be, it's that the Dallas Flash are going to win this tournament. The planets have aligned. My psyche is calm. Everything makes sense. We're going to talk about the Dallas Flash's win a little bit later, but I definitely don't want to spend too much time on this podcast recapping what happened because as has been a pattern in this season, we had a lot of just expected results. Ultimately, in the finals, in the semis, were the top 4 teams: Dallas Flash, St. Louis Shock, Columbus Sliders, and New Jersey Fives. And ultimately, the top 2 seeds, the Shock and the Flash, made it to the finals. None of that was surprising. This was a big deal for the Sliders because they did kind of say like, okay, we're the 4 seed and we've proven that we deserve to be the 4 seed. We're in the semis. But then they kind of dropped the ball and lose to the Ranchers, which was a big win for the Ranchers. They need a little bit of momentum. They definitely like dropped down a few spots when they had a couple of hard losses a couple events ago. But those are the 4 teams that we see heading to the semifinals and the finals. There were some upsets throughout the weekend. Notably, the Miami Pickleball team beats the LA Mad Drops, but that kind of has a caveat. And then the Orlando Squeeze also beat the LA Mad Drops. It was a rough weekend for the Mad Drops, and we can definitely get into why right now. So Kwang Dong, you know what? He breached his contract again. And I talked about this the last time he breached his contract. So QD is not supposed to play on any other tours. He went across the pond to Asia, pretty sure Vietnam, and he played in a tournament there. That was a few months ago. And we were all like, it's his hometown. Like, why can't he go over there and play a tournament? Oh my God. And I was like, you know what? Fine him. He will gladly take that fine because he did breach his contract. He blatantly did what he wasn't supposed to do. PPA cannot allow for that. It's a bad precedent to start, and they had to do something. So they fined him and they banned him for free matches. So hello, he already missed a bunch of matches with the Mad Drops, which hurt their record. Then he comes back and they have an amazing undefeated tournament. So you're finally starting to think like, okay, the Mad Drops have a real chance here. And then all of a sudden comes the midseason tournament. I decide that I have all the faith in the world in the Mad Drops. And I'm like, they're going to beat the Fives. This is how they're going to beat the Fives. They're going to blah, 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 blah. I had this whole theory of how it was going to go down. And I think I could have been right. But then all of a sudden I find out, oh, QD's out for the whole tournament. Excuse me? After I made videos and I sent in my picks and I'm fighting for a top spot in Maddie Pickle's, I don't even know, pick'em ratings. And then QD leaves, screwing me out of a semifinal pick and a 3rd place pick. So I wasn't happy about that. So of course, apparently he was getting surgery. But in reality, maybe he got some surgery. I don't know. He went back to Asia and did another tournament. Again, I think in Vietnam. So this is not surprising. One time, QD, his brother and his dad, came to Pickle Pop, where I work, and he was training with Christine Maddox, our pro there. And I was like there, and I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. I'm like, not starstruck but like starstruck because they were just like drilling singles. And I was like, no one has hit the ball this hard at Pickle Pop ever. I hope you don't like break the rafters. And so I'm talking to his dad, who's like just over the top, such a character. And he's basically saying to me, like, he's just telling me, he's like, the money in Asia is crazy. It will make what we're doing here in America look silly. The money that he's going to make over there with his contracts and the way that the pickleball economy is going to grow is crazy. He even said to me, he's like, you should move to China and run a pickleball facility there. And I was like, I don't speak any Chinese. And he's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just go and you'll make so much money. And I was like, okay. I literally think I said to him, like, okay, like, are you going to hire me? Like, can we do this together? And he's like, oh. So when I hear that they're just like, we're out. We don't really need PPA money. We don't need that guarantee contract, especially with the new PPA rules. I honestly don't blame them. So what you're saying now is that Q can't renegotiate a higher contract and he's only going to get a lot of money if he's winning medals. And we know right now that he only would be winning medals realistically in singles. He could make a run in like men's doubles or something, but why wouldn't he make a move when PPA has changed? When PPA has changed these policies to screw everyone over but the top 10. Honestly, I didn't even think about this. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting a little bit heated. So what does the UPA think these other players are going to do? Do you think if you make it harder for people to make money, they're not going to be like over it? So he goes to Asia and he's probably making, I don't know, so much money there. And of course, I understand, but it sucks for the mad drops. If it wasn't a team sport, I don't think anyone would care. Even if it was like PPA and you had a partner, yeah, you're letting your partner down, but they can find a new partner. Like the mad drops are screwed. Hopefully they can snag AJ and sign him on their team. I don't know. I'm racking my brain and I can't think of anyone else that would be a better pickup. And AJ has shown that he's really, really good. That being said, I don't think they'll go far with AJ. I don't see AJ and Catherine being that great of a mixed team. And AJ and Hunter, I don't know. But he's their best choice, and we'll ever see what happens. And here's my question about QD that I want to ask people. People are like judging him for doing this or having some opinions. Like, how much money would he need to get paid where you would say it was okay? Realistically, if he went over there and did a tournament and they gave him $500,000, would you think that it was fine that he didn't play in the midseason tournament, that he didn't play in the MLP midseason tournament? I personally have a hard time faulting him for doing that, especially because of all the things that have been done to make MLP feel smaller. So you have this tournament, they're in Beer City, huge turnout with the fans, amazing venue, but it's not like the biggest stadium seating, amazing. And they're playing for like 20K, I mean, each. Like, so what's he going to do? Do I think he expected his contract to be completely terminated? No, but I think it's a risk that he was willing to take. And it seems like people are allowed to miss tournaments for less than that. Jeannie Bouchard and Jack Sock were not in attendance, as they tend to not be in attendance of anything the Flash does. Sorry, not the Flash, the Flames do. So you'll see a flyer for like, oh, come to the Flames, like, clinic, come to a camp. And it's like Jesse, Alex. I don't remember who their fourth guy is right now. I think before was Tessa Peony. But anyway, and then Tyson McGuffin. I'm like, oh, no, Jeannie and Jack aren't going to do any community service. They're not going to put any extra time for the team. So they're not playing this weekend. Now, I don't have any details about what's going on with them because, like, truly, I don't really care about Jack Sox, Jeannie Bouchard, or tennis. So I didn't really do any investigating. JK, JK, JK. But yeah, good luck to the Mad Drops. I'll still be your fan. Hopefully I'll see you at the playoffs in August. And you just have the worst luck. First Thomas Wilson, then Hunter cuts his hand. Catherine gets married. Obviously that's not bad luck, but but hopefully you can come out on top of this. Okay. Now I want to talk about the fives. So again, I'm not going to like recap everything. I kind of gave you the biggest matchups that I was looking forward to were honestly like Brooklyn versus Columbus. And that did end up being a good game, but I think it went a little bit more towards Columbus than I thought it would. It would be interesting to see what's going to happen when they play when Deckel's there. But yeah. And Paris and Leia beating Jackie and Rachel is a big win for them. They should get a lot of confidence in that. They played really, really well. Paris and Leia are, in my opinion, like two amazingly great draft picks, great female players, but they're just punching at the door of those top women's teams, and beating Rachel and Jackie is a big deal. So that kind of puts them in the mix that they can win any women's match. So keep that in mind as the sliders are moving forward, because we know that Andre and CJ can beat anyone at any time. Okay, fives. Whew. Dramatic weekend for the fives. So we know recently that the fives picked up Mari Humberg. Now, to backtrack a little bit for people who don't know, at the end of last season, everyone had to drop a player. The fives chose to drop Mari, and they picked up Jeannie Bouchard, then did some trades, which were obviously in the works beforehand, and ended up with Megan Dizon. So we think that their goal was to get Megan Dizon. Now, thoughts about why they would pick up Megan Dizon. She's a very good player. Annalie wants to play left. She might be better at mixed for Zane. Zane can continue to play left because Mari thrives on the right. So despite like logic that normally would go with anything, Mari would play on the left with both Annalie and Zane, which is actually kind of crazy when you think about it. But it worked for them last year and they made it to the championships. So we're going through the season, and of course everyone's like, oh, if you're Megan, are you nervous to play with Annalie? Blah, 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 blah. And Annalie and Megan take some rough losses. They lose to Catherine Prento and Jade Kawamoto. They lose to Anna Bray and Kate Fahey. Some tough losses, right? Not happy. And in my mind, we've seen what happens when Annalie loses. Partners get switched up. So I was honestly like, obviously them getting Mari was like a big surprise, unexpected, but not really like a shock, no pun intended, but they take Mari. So I'm like, okay, what is the plan with Mari? My opinion was like, they're going to bring Mari and trade Megan for like some money, whatever. But no, they keep them both on the roster. So I'm like, this is crazy to keep them both on the roster. Like, what are you doing? You just want Mari there as a backup? I mean, I guess that's fine. Like, because obviously, like, Chris Degecheva wasn't good enough backup, so they need a better backup. Fine. But I was like, no. They would not go through all of this to get Mari to not play Mari. So let's talk about this weekend. So Thursday, the fives, with Megan Dizon playing, murder the Flames. No surprise. Saturday, the fives beat Miami, again playing with Megan Dizon. But the women only win 11-8, and it is a tight game. Uh-oh, that does not look good for Megan. So now they're coming up their next game against St. Louis Shock. Semifinal, huge game. Very important that Annalie and her partner beat the women's doubles team because their men are really, really strong. And Zane and whatever woman have shown to be a weak link in mixed doubles. So that women's match is vital to secure a trip to the Dream Breaker, which their team is kind of built on, right? Get one of the two genders and expect Annalie and Willhouse to win. So They put in Mari Humberg. Whoop-woo. You open up the game starts, walk in, and Megan Dizon is not even suited up. Don't worry though, Lee is suited up, guys. So if anyone gets injured and we need a sub, Lee is ready to go. She's got her outfit on. So Megan Dizon is just looking honestly like just so fierce. She's got her blowout, full beat, cute little fives hat, like little fives tank top and like shorts, like not a care in the world, looking so good. Okay, like if she wasn't going to play, she was at least going to like show up and like serve us a look, which I appreciate. You know, I love when people serve a look. That's why I'm obsessed with Georgia and Tyra. Like, no matter what day of the week it is, they're going to serve a look. So we have Mari in there, and Annalie and Mari are playing Anna Bright and Kate Fahey. And as it's going, it's like looking very good for the fives. They have a lead, they have a couple game points, but Anna Bright and Kate Fahey are able to take it in extra points, like 12 to 10 or something like that. And this is what's crazy. Okay, it's back and forth, back and forth. Somehow, because they're not going to switch on the stack or something, Annalie ends up on the left, and they win a point, and then it's their, and then she's kind of saying, we don't know what's going on, okay? But it's right before the final match point. It's 11-10. Shock is about to serve. Annalie's on the right, Mari's on the left. As they're normally doing, that's how they stack. Right before the point happens, you see Lee Waters like sprinting over and telling Annalie some kind of strategy. I don't know what that strategy is. Somebody tell me, please. But then the point goes, they come in, Kate and Anna just dink to Annalie's left foot because she's on the right. So all she can do is backhand dinks back to them. She has no offense. They're just getting her there. Ball goes to Mari. Mari goes for her patented, her iconic backhand slice dink into the net. They do their little high fives, and then you see Annalie like yelling at her mom, like fully going at her. Again, somebody tell me what they were talking about. In my opinion, I have no evidence of this. I have no anything. I think Annalie was saying to her mom that she should have been playing left. And I completely agree. If you are putting somebody on the left because of their backhand dink versus Annalie Waters on the left, who can create offense everywhere, what are you thinking? I think last year it worked because people weren't expecting it for Mari because they didn't have her pegged, right? She's on the left, she can backhand dink all time, and she's got that crazy flick. But in this sense, I think they should have kept, at the end of the day, at the end of it, kept Annalie on the left. It's tricky because if you have Mari playing on one side the whole time, you don't necessarily want to switch it up halfway through, but who knows? Anyway, so that was crazy. She went at her mom for a long time. She was not happy. And then you have Mari on the bench just like staring straight ahead. Like I need to know what they were talking about. But this is not abnormal for there to be drama on the fives after a loss. After a loss, Annalie does drama. We saw what happened with Hayden. We've seen it across the board. Nothing's ever normal. Or she'll lose and say something crazy like, oh, I let Catherine beat me. Like, it's crazy that when this girl loses, and it's crazy the drama between her and her mom. I want to just say, while we talk about the fives, there are no GMs who have more main character energy than the GM of the fives and the GM of the sliders. It's like they are the stars of the show. And at the same time, there's no one with more main character energy than Lee Waters as the coach or Kyle McKenzie. They have so much energy. That's why the fives are a lot to take in because they have 6 personalities. I'll say 5 personalities that are over the top. Zane, Will, Lee, Ryan, Annalie. And then you have Mari and Megan just fighting for their lives there. So true. And they were like, what about the Phoenix Flames GM? Isn't he main character? No. He is the main character. It's not about energy. He earns every bit of attention he gets, and he is a gem. He is literally like the star of MLP, and we should protect him and just hope that he can continue to deliver like just hit after hit on that clipboard. Okay, fives end up losing that match. Later on, so the fives lose that match, okay? Annalie and Will win, but the men lose, and then Zane and Mari lose to Kate and Gabe. Okay. Next day rolls around and they're in the bronze medal match and we have Megan back in. Like, that's crazy going back and forth between these two girls. Crazy. So Megan's back in and they end up beating. So I want to say that I think I was wrong. So I was saying before that I think they should play Mari over Megan. But I do think Annalie on the left is the way to go. And I think Zayn on the left is also the way to go. That's kind of why now I'm leaning towards Megan. And I think I was wrong. I mean, you have to think Dreambreaker. They can't get beaten at Dreambreaker, and Megan is a liability. Like, she needs to practice for singles, but she could still take it. I'm going back and forth, you guys. I don't know. But here is a hot take that I wanted to get into about the fives. I was just thinking about this literally, like, I write my notes for this podcast, and as I'm like getting ready, like a million things come in my head. So here's a hot take for the fives. What they should have done, imagine an alternate universe where they drop Zayn and they pay an enormous amount of money for Augiga. Multiple reasons this would work. One, it weakens the Flash. Someone should have weakened the Flash as soon as they let them draft Georgia with J-Dub and then they drafted Tyra. Like, what were they thinking? So they pay a bunch of money for Augie just to weaken the Flash. Then you have Augie with Will. Will would definitely benefit from a lefty because he likes to be kind of crazy and it's good to have a forehand in the middle. And he's used to playing a lefty on the APP tour. And then you have Mari playing with the lefty, so it makes sense for her to be on the left side with her backhand, and the lefty can take over. Kind of like when she plays with CJ on the PPA tour, and they recently had like an insane win over Christian Alshon and Editu Anatoa. How iconic would that have been? Now, dropping Zayn and mixing that up, I mean, I think if Mari had stayed on the team for another year and had been on the team this whole time, her confidence would be high enough. I mean, you do not miss that dink, that simple textbook dink on that point if it's not your nerves. So I don't know who they would have picked up, but I think they should have dropped Zayn instead of Mari at the end of last tournament and gotten someone a little stronger with a little more upside. That men's team has been playing really well, but they still like lost in this tournament. And the fact that you have a mixed team that is pretty weak is an issue. So anyway, it was like, the problem is that last season the fives were so strong and they knew they were so strong, and it was always like, you do not want to face the fives because if they get you in a Dreambreaker, you're screwed. And if you have to beat them twice in the finals, good luck with that. And now this season, it kind of looks like Shock and St. Louis have like solidified themselves, and the Sliders are like a new team and are getting there. And now it seems like the fives have to work really, really hard to get back to the top. So that's for that. Okay, so one more thing about the fives. This like gritty and clown and things like by Gary V's NFTs, you guys, I don't get it. I have Googled NFTs and like asked ChatGPT and like talked to people about it, and like, yeah, it's just like, it's worth what people think it's worth. I'm like, where are we? What are we talking about? Like, I am not smart enough. Like, I feel like that is something I'm too old for. So there's like things that you get that like the youngins understand that you don't understand, or maybe I'm just not smart enough for it, but like, I do not understand NFTs and I don't understand coding. I understand like 1100 and I understand writing the code. But, like, you write the code and then how does it happen? Like, where does the electricity go? Like, we're just writing code. Okay, I can learn to write code, but how does the letters and numbers I'm writing, like, does the electricity go through? Like, what are we talking about here? I'll never understand, you guys. That being said, I do understand some quantum physics stuff, or, the girly version of it. Like, I understand quantum leaping. I understand that nothing exists unless we perceive it. And I understand that time is not linear. I had to watch a lot of TikToks about it, but I do understand that. But I do not understand NFTs. And I feel like it's kind of like crypto. Someone is farsing me and I don't trust it. I think it's a way, all of these weird bro money things, I think are like a way to somehow like pay for things in the black market, okay? Or like hide money. And I don't trust it. I don't like it. And what's funny about that is I don't understand what Gary Vee does, but he dominates my TikTok For You page. I listen to his podcast. I listen to all his tips. I've learned that it's never too late. I've learned that I have to make more content. I've learned that I have to make better content. I've learned that I should just make content even if it's not good. I've learned that sometimes he just says things like, you're lazy. And I'm like, so true. Like, you're so right, Gary Vee. So I am a big Gary Vee fan, but like, I do not understand NFTs. Let's talk about the Shock versus Dallas. So we get our bronze medal match. The Sliders end up losing to Brooklyn before they get to the bronze. I mean, the Sliders lose to the Ranchers before they get to the bronze. Big win for Tina Pisnick and Caitlin Christian to beat Paris and Leia. Caitlin Christian, newest player on the Ranchers. She needs a little bit of confidence. I think we should keep our eye on the Ranchers. I do think they're going to get back, like come back to grace. But it's about Christian Alshon stepping up to the plate. And obviously, he's still top dude in both doubles categories on the PPA tour, but he hasn't before. I was like, eek, who can stop him? And now I'm kind of like, he's stoppable. You know what I mean? So got to work on that. Okay. Shock versus the Flash. What a match. We start out with women's doubles. Anna Bright and Kay Fahey go up 3-0 on Georgia and Tyra real quick. And they look a little nervous, but they get it together and they end up winning 11-3. So they just win 11 points. The men go up. And it's the opposite, right? Like Hayden Patrickman and Gabe Tardio beat J-Dub and Augie pretty well. Hayden and Gabe are two top 5 men's doubles players. They're definitely better at men's than they are at mixed. Hayden is never going to be the best mixed player because he's like a little too short. And Gabe needs to learn to like, he's dangerous in mixed, but he's not he's not like controlling the points. He's always there. You don't want to hit to him and he can make offense, but he's not like in control of the points like some of these other mixed people are. Anyway, the men win. So now we come up to mixed doubles. J-Dub and Georgia take care of Anna Bright and Hayden Patrickman. Beat them, I think 11-5, not great. We go into the final mixed match. Tyra and Augie look like they have it, but then a big push at the end by Kay Fahey and Gabe Tardio. They should be very proud of that push. They take it to extra innings, end up losing 12-10. Now, the game plan against that team was clearly Tyra and Augie dinking it to Kate and Kate trying to hold her own. It was clear among of those two teams that Kate Fahey was the weak link. And this is not coming from me, like Kate Fahey is the newest player. She's a big, accomplished tennis player, better at singles than all the other girls could beat them, but her doubles game is catching up, as happens in pickleball. Your doubles game is always going to come after. So it is not unexpected that her dinking would be what you would target. And by the end of the game, she was kind of getting her confidence back, or just maybe just being like, fuck this, like, and creating offense with her backhand, all this stuff. But Tyra and Augie were able to take it home. Tyra's just too good. I talked about this a little on my Instagram, but Tyra is a top 5 woman, should be the alpha top woman on any team. And somehow she's on the same team as Georgia Johnson. Somehow the way drafting worked is that the Flash got 2 of the best women on their team. There are other teams with 2 great women, but these are 2 first round. Like if we were back to doing snake draft, I would say these are top 5 women you should draft first, or auction draft. You have money. You're going to pick Anna Bright. You should pick Tyra. You should pick Georgia before all these other men. I truly believe that on the Flash, Tyra and Georgia could get partnered with another 1-man, 2-man and win. There's a lot of combos of men that they could get and still win. They don't need the men's doubles match because they're so good at women's and they can carry mixed. Tyra is so alpha. She's perfect with Augie because he doesn't have to do everything. She will do so much. It's like, watching her is so fun. She's so fast. Zip, zip. Like, you don't know what she's about to do. It's like she's slow and meticulous and they score. So I don't know what these other teams are going to do to beat the Flash, especially in the end of the season when they have to beat them 2 out of 3 times. Like, that's crazy. So the Flash beat the Shock. It seems pretty uneven, to be honest. Not Anna Bright losing 8-22 across that match. She's going to be mad. I mean, hopefully that'll just like fire her to come back stronger next time, but it did not look. Georgia and Tyra just seemed to be in a league of their own. So good. Last thing about this last tournament was In Challenger, for the Challenger finals, the Las Vegas Night Owls versus the Nashville Chefs was the best match of the tournament, hands down. So they end up going to a Dream Breaker. Both of these teams are amazing. I didn't have Nashville going to the finals because I'm an idiot, and I don't know why I didn't understand that Eva Radikowska could make it to any Challenger final any day of the week, no matter her team. So they end up going, and the women win, the men win, back and forth, and they end up in a Dream Breaker. So the Las Vegas Night Owls have been the favorite all season. They've only lost one time. And it's actually crazy that they even had to go to a Dream Breaker. So they get to the Dream Breaker, and they have a great Dream Breaker team. Like, they have Zoe and Brooke are two top. Brooke is like number 2 or number 3, and Zoe's like in the top 10. And then Pablo's a great singles player. So they end up going to Dream Breaker. And the men on the Night Owls are terrible. They lose like 4-0, 3-1 something. Luckily, Brooke and Zoe come up, but the Michelle Esquivel and Eva are playing really well. So it's not like you think, oh, Brooke will take all 4. She doesn't. Zoe will take 4. She doesn't. It's back and forth. But the Night Owls are always like 4 behind. Finally get to 3 behind. Then they get to 2 behind, and then they go back down to 3 behind, and Pablo steps up. Now, Pablo has been getting beaten bad by Anderson Scarpa. And he goes in and he takes all 4 points, putting them up 2019. And these were amazing points. This wasn't like missed something, whatever, but he had to play out of his mind to get those 4 points. Then Brooke comes up. The other men play, and then Brooke comes up and wins it. But those 4 points by Pablo were insane. So Las Vegas Night Owls make a huge comeback in the Dream Breaker and win the championship. And they're just so happy. And then Steve Deacon, who's like truly a pickleball icon, is like so proud of his team and so happy. It was so precious. They all seemed so pumped. And it's like, I don't know, it felt like a really good moment because I think some of those players felt really like screwed over, like being traded into Challenger. And look, they ultimately had like an amazing half of the season, got an amazing win. It's amazing. So we have another tournament this weekend. It's crazy how back-to-back and fast these are. We have another tournament this weekend. So it's in St. Louis. The Shock will be the home team. And we have the Slice, the Bouncers, St. Louis Shock, Brooklyn Pickleball team, Columbus Sliders, Dallas Flash. Basically, a lot of the top teams. We don't have the Ranchers, the Fives, or formerly the Mad Drops. Who knows who the Mad Drops will be soon enough. But at this point, a lot of the matches are going to be really uneven and not feel like they matter. We're kind of in a race for the playoffs, chasing buys, chasing seeding. That being said, like, that's a big deal. I don't want to be on the same side as the bracket as the Shock. As the Flash. And I want that buy. I want to skip San Diego and I want to go to New York. So that's what we're fighting for here. Okay, so even though there's going to be a lot of uneven matchups this weekend, there are a few to look out for. On Friday, we have the Dallas Flash versus the Brooklyn Pickleball team, and then we have the Shock versus the Sliders. The Sliders, I think Dallas takes care of Brooklyn. I think the Sliders do have a chance to do well against the Shock. I think the Shock women take it. I think the Sliders men take it. And then Paris and Andre could definitely beat Anna and Hayden. And then the other two is kind of a toss-up, in my opinion. So if I'm the Shock and I get to choose, I think I might put Hayden and Anna against CJ and Leia and try to get myself to a Dream Breaker and hopefully lean on like us having a stronger Dream Breaker team, which I think they do. I mean, we have Kate, even though Paris is really good, but the men are better. I think they can win in a Dream Breaker. Now, on Saturday, the Flash play the Sliders, and I actually think the Sliders have a better chance of beating the Flash than they do the Shock. So I think it's the same situation. I think the Flash women win, the Sliders men win, and then mix is always kind of a toss-up, like how well J-Dub's going to win. I do think they take both mixed matches, but if the Sliders can get Dallas into a Dream Breaker, they have a better shot because J-Dub and Augie aren't as good as singles players, and then Paris and Leia are on paper better singles players than Georgia and Tyra. I think Dallas is just more clutch, so I do think they win that, but it'll be closer. And then at the end of the day on Saturday, mark your calendars, 3:15 p.m., the Shock and the Flash have a rematch. And I'm honestly more scared of the sliders for the Flash than the Shock, because of the strength of their men. Okay. And then on Sunday, the Shock played the Brooklyn Pickleball team, and then the Brooklyn Pickleball team played the Columbus Sliders. So I'm keeping Brooklyn in the mix, and I think they could have a really good weekend because I think it's just like their vibe. Like I'm just vibing that they might have a good weekend. Who knows? But those I would say are the matchups that you should keep your eyes out for. That being said, having really good matches, 2 good matches, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is a big deal. So that's exciting. I'm excited for that. We're heading towards the end of the season. Some of these teams, like, who are the Chicago Slice? I don't think I've talked about them in weeks. Like, I forget that they exist. Other teams are still on my radar at least, but like, what are they doing? I don't know. So, but Miami had a good weekend. I don't know. I think we might have kind of capped out on who's making the playoffs unless something happens with the Hogs next weekend, but they're not even playing this weekend. So I don't know. Anyway, that's where that is. So we'll discuss all of this next weekend. We'll talk about towards the end of the season what's going on. Maybe we'll start looking at some potential like partnerships that are coming up at PPA because I did see a few that look kind of cool. I think I saw Catherine Parenta playing with Jackie Kawamoto. That's interesting. So we'll talk about that next week. You guys follow me on Instagram, Obsessed with Pickleball, TikTok, Obsessed with Pickleball Pod. Like this, please. Like, tell people to listen, subscribe, whatever, comment, and I will see you all on the next one.